Do you know what Woodford's core products are?
Woodford Reserve.
Yes. Well, Woodford Reserve.
Hello, and welcome everyone to episode 128 of the Mashup, the best bourbon conversation you're going to hear all week long. We're your hosts, Kenny, Anthony, and Steven. Hello, good sirs.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
You
I know you are, but what am I?
Yeah. Well, I look over and I see Kenny on his phone, and I have to imagine that are you binning something right now while we're talking?
I am looking at notes.
You're looking at notes.
He's
Okay.
playing War with the Friends.
Yeah. There it is. Yeah. Well, those of you guys who don't know Kenny, I don't want to reveal too much about him, but he is perpetually on his phone. And if you ever have an experience where you might be on an enthusiast market somewhere and you see something posted, it's posted for like 30 seconds, then you see a bin and you go, dang it, how come I missed that bin? It's because literally Kenny is one step ahead of you. Yes, absolutely.
I try to be. Although I missed a few bottles today that I'm not happy about.
Oh. Well.
Yeah, I was at the chiropractor, didn't check my phone, and I even got tagged by 3 people.
Oh.
So I could have got the bottles, but I did not. It's okay.
I think I know exactly what that was because the interwebs have a way of keeping history.
Yeah.
I believe, is that Redbreast, sir?
27 year, yes, sir.
It was 27-year-old Redbreast, reasonably priced, I think.
It's been $100 less than I have been.
Oh,
right.
wow.
And there was like, not only there wasn't 1, not 2, not 3, not 4.
Good Lord.
He had 6.
6. Woo!
And I missed all 6.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Man. If I was at the chiropractor that would just be weird if I was there with you. So let's not talk about that.
It's not the weirdest place you've been with me, Anthony.
Really? What are you talking about there?
Can we talk about it on air?
Yeah, I don't know. We're getting off the rails here. I don't know if we should go there or not.
Probably not.
Yeah, and you know what the funny thing is I can't even remember, so it doesn't matter where I was at anyway. Now I'm curious. That'll be off the record. What do you think, Steven? Off the record?
I don't even know. So
I have no idea either. Kenny's in his own mind over here.
I mean, well, just say it if you want.
Oh my God! Okay, here we go.
The back room of Total Wine when you let me in with your key.
Yeah. How come it's always got to involve Total Wine?
Is your undercover manager.
Backroom manager. You know, Kenny has said this to so many people that
They actually believe it.
Yeah,
They legit think he works there. They think he works there.
I saw a friend of his about 2 weeks ago. I think I was like trading a bottle or something like that. And when I pulled up, the person who doesn't know me all that well said, "Hey, backroom manager at Total Wine." And I was like, "Oh my God, come on!"
That is awesome.
Yeah. So Kenny's nickname of me has
That is
stuck now.
great.
So Steven, when you were out of town, you missed out on something.
What?
Well, it was something that I had really high hopes for. And when I say I had high hopes for it, we've talked before on this. Kenny's a little spoiled, aren't you, sir? You get to pick barrels all the time.
What a brat.
Yes.
Yeah, and I respect that, and I'm jealous of it. And I also thought to myself, okay, a big time now. I'm getting to go on my 3rd in-person barrel pick of all time, the 3rd one.
I warned you, though, didn't I?
Yeah, you did warn me. But,
Okay.
okay, Steven, let's just spitball here with me a second, because you didn't know about this because you were traveling, and I don't want to make you feel bad, so I didn't tell you about it. So we got invited by the Liquor Box in Georgetown to go pick a pick. We didn't know what it was at Woodford Reserve.
Okay.
And so what do you think? Like, what are you imagining when you hear pick at Woodford Reserve? Because, I mean, you've been there. So what are you imagining? Like, go in your wildest thoughts here, your fantasies.
All I see is double oak.
Double oak.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's about all I see.
Okay, and then what would you think like that experience would be like? Because you've toured the grounds there, you've done a tasting there, right?
A long time ago.
Okay, but even then, wasn't it like a good experience?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Woodford to me has always been like a tour experience that I recommend to people because I like it, and I'm like, so I'm all pumped up. I'm excited. I'm getting to go there with Kenny, of course, and a couple guys from Georgetown, Andrew, his buddy. And your wife too. Kenny's wife came as well.
That was our first barrel pick.
That was her first barrel pick.
Aw.
Yeah. So
Did you guys get your picture taken?
Probably. I don't know.
I think there were some pictures being taken, but so anyway, I'm all pumped up. We do the tour. We're on a tour. Do you remember they took us through the warehouse and there was some kind of special? Do you remember those barrels that had like a red? Mm-hmm. They had like a red. What do you call that on it? Like they were colored red. So what did they say they were going to do with those barrels? They said they were going to put them out for, I think, Derby or something.
Yeah, that was a special blend. It was only going to be like super limited, only sold either like for the Derby to like just the private group or just the Derby itself or something. Like, yeah, it's not.
Oh, like a Derby pick bottle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we saw that, and then I was like, okay, maybe we're going to get something really special. So the big thing is we didn't know what we were going to be able to select because the store owner is relatively new. We've talked about him in a previous episode.
But you already had your mindset on double oak.
Of course, you had a mindset on double oak. Why wouldn't you want double oak?
Double oak is dessert a lot of times. It's it's one of the better lower proof bourbons, I think.
Yeah. So we get in there and we don't get double oak. Do you know what we get?
A rye?
No, we didn't. I would have taken a rye.
Yeah.
Just oak.
We got a regular,
just plain old.
Bourbon, plain old. But here's the thing. Guess what? It's all high proof. So what are the proofs? Between 115 and 130?
Yeah, 116 to 128.
116, 128, somewhere in there. So they're all barrel strength things to taste. And I'm excited now. I'm like, okay, we got barrel strength to taste. You know, I don't know how this goes. I can't make this up. We taste all three. Then the person that's doing the tasting and the tour takes a pitcher of water and proofs it all down to 90.4. Right? Is this the process? So now you're drinking what was semi-good,
right?
And now it's all tasting the same. And one of the samples tasted, in my opinion, like terrible. It was like vomit.
Oh.
Yeah, no good. And
so they presented you in Glencairn's, I assume,
yes,
high proof stuff, and then in front of you, they destroyed it with water.
Chris Morrison.
That's exactly what happened. And then after it was destroyed with water, and you picked the one you liked the best, then it gets even more interesting. Because I didn't even know this. When I saw a Woodford store pick at the store, I assumed it was single barrel. Did you think it was single barrel?
I would assume so.
Well, it's not. You know what it is?
Small batch?
Batch.
Yeah, you batch. Then you take the best combo of the samples that they give you that are proof to 90.4. Now they're blended together, and you taste them again, and that's what you get the bottle.
So that vomit one was put in there?
Yeah, so they actually blend.
So you're not really picking; they're just presenting you a barrel.
No, you pick. It's just
3 barrels.
They do 0 single barrels. It's always a batch, because for some reason, even though Brown-Forman owns them and Brown-Forman does Jack Daniel's single barrel picks and Old Forge single barrel picks, Woodford, just Chris Morrison said there's nothing that should be a single barrel. So they actually blend A with B and A with C, and then they blend B with C. So now you have 3 blends to pick from.
Yeah, so 3 blends, and then you have to pick the best blend, and that's what your store pick's going to be.
Interesting.
Yeah. It was literally, I don't know what my face looked like, but I have a hard time. I have a really hard time hiding disappointment, and where disappointment usually shows is in my face. Yeah. And so I don't know what I look like, but I just know that I was sitting there thinking to myself, I'm so incredibly happy to be here right now because it's a barrel pick experience, and I'm still happy that I got to do it, but that was not fun. When I say not fun, I mean if you're really into whiskey and you really like whiskey like we do, it's like, okay, here's everything you could have, but here's what you're getting now. Okay, there, pat you on the head, move along, and your pick will be in. And then it takes something like, 2 months to get that?
2 or 3, I think. Yeah.
2 or 3 months to get to get a watered down 2-barrel blend that people will probably enjoy for the holidays. So if you can.
Yeah, I hope they sell them all.
Yeah, if you're up in Georgetown, you can check out Liquor Box.
Wow.
We didn't pick the vomit one.
We didn't pick the vomit one, but it's a 2-barrel blend that hopefully people will enjoy. I mean, I'll probably pick up a bottle or 2, but yeah, it should be something good for the holidays.
So what sticker goes on it? The liquor box's sticker?
Yeah, they're going to make a sticker.
Okay.
Andrew has some pretty good. I don't know if he does his own design work or if he has somebody do it, but he's actually got some pretty good stuff. He's
nice.
Yeah, Andrew's got some good tatery stuff, and we're still waiting on our bullet pick to come from there, and we're excited about that one. So
yeah, I'm hoping that when the bottles come in, they taste like our sample.
Yep.
And if they do, it is just a butterscotch vanilla pudding that's pretty doggone good. So
yeah, no,
as long as the bottles taste like our samples, I'll buy at least a case.
Me too. I'm in for a case. Mark it. Book it.
Yeah, that's serious. It's actually pretty good.
So, gentlemen, for this week, we took a review of our Instagram page.
Absolutely. You know, we like reviews in any way that we can get them. So you know, here we go. This was an Instagram message we got from Nick B. There was no title to it because it was a message. And he said, a resounding thank you to you guys for your outstanding content. Your podcast has become a weekly staple. He said, since moving to Lexington to work at an esteemed university. I wonder if that's the same local university I work at. I wonder. He said, I feel more connected to you guys than ever. Would love to link up with you guys for a drink sometime. Keep the goodness coming.
Nice.
Esteemed. So it must
Well, if
be
he's in
transy.
Lexington, there's no reason not to link up.
Yeah. Would you say,
I said if it's
Steve?
esteemed, it's probably transy.
Well, it's funny. I didn't go any further, but I was laughing because you guys know I always refer to the local university that I happen to work at on this podcast. So I wonder if we work at the same university. But yeah, maybe we can get him to come for a drink. Like
Maybe.
you said, like Kenny said. Yeah, you think?
If he's in Lexington, he should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you come and you find us. We'll get you that drink.
And if you like a shout out, just leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Instagram, Spotify, however you like. And next time we record, we'll give you a shout out. Gentlemen, for this week, we have a bottle. And I am quite excited about it because one time long ago, Anthony said he had picked up this bottle and was good.
Yes, I
This
did
was
say that.
years ago.
Years
And
ago.
now that kind of the malt craze on bourbon has started to become a little more popular since we've done a couple bottles, I'm interested to see what this has to offer.
I am too, to revisit it because I had it way back when it first came out.
Right.
Yeah.
So for this week, we got a bottle of Woodford Reserve Kentucky Straight Malt Whiskey.
Oh, yeah. Here we go with the Kentucky Straight Malt Whiskey. So this comes to us from the Woodford Reserve Distillery, which is Brown Forman owned, which you just mentioned that, right? The bottle date is 2023. The ABV is a staggering 45.2.
No way.
Just
No
like
way.
every other product that Woodford puts out there, 90.4, I guess, except for their batch proof. The age is non-age stated. The mash bill is 51% malt, 47% corn, and 2% rye, and the MSRP is $35.99. Steven, since you picked this one up, was it the price at that, or did they have it priced lesser?
No, I think it was about mid-30s. Pretty seems accurate.
I wondered.
He must have not got it at Total
Actually, I
Wine.
thought it was. I felt like it was a couple.
Total wine. Sorry, go ahead.
I actually felt like it was a couple bucks more, but I'm glad you have $36 down because I was expecting it to be like low 30s, and then I saw like 35, 36, 37. I was like, man, whatever. But
When this bottle came out back in 2018, I know for a fact it was $28 or $29 because I bought not one, but two of these. And then for some reason, I just stopped. So I have not had this since maybe 2019.
I have never had it.
You've never had it.
Zero.
Ooh, we got a first. Do you guys want to talk about this bottle? Because, there's a lot to talk about.
it has a blue ribbon
It is blue.
Yeah.
Blue label,
label.
blue ribbon. I like that.
and the word malt.
That's right. Other than that, there's not a whole lot different about this bottle than any other Woodford bottle that you're going to see on the shelf, except for the fact that the labeling, of course. So they're actually falling into that category that I like to talk about being, not very creative.
Right.
I've lambasted Heaven Hill for the way they treat Elijah Craig, small batch versus toasted versus barrel proof. This is kind of the same thing where, do you know what Woodford's core products are?
Woodford Reserve.
Yes. Well, Woodford Reserve. And what? They have a rye. They also have this one, I think, was
They
their
had the little wheat one.
the wheat.
The
Yeah.
wheat.
And then they have the double oak. So I think that's their 5 things that comprise their sort of flagship of their brand. But I think in the pecking order, this actually comes as a 4th permanent brand extension. So it was like bourbon, rye, double oak.
Wasn't the wheat?
No, wheat came out later. Wheat was like 2019 or 2020, I think. No, 2019, yeah.
And then when they get mold or nastiness on their lines, and they come out with a little special distillery release in the 375 milliliter.
Kenny, how you going to dog them like that with their 375s? There's some decent ones that have been released, right?
The chocolate malt whisperer.
I did not like that chocolate malt whisper. That was
Disgusting.
probably, yeah. In fact, I think I've told that story before, but why not tell it again? I was over here one night having some pours, and someone snuck that into my glass and said, "Oh, try, it's the best thing you're ever going to taste." And I tasted it, and I thought I had been malorded. It was not good, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's terrible." And then when I got the grand reveal that it was a small 375 of Woodford, it was, they do some crazy stuff with their experimental series.
But as much as I've dogged on them, it's part of it is because that's stuff they could change if they wanted to. But now go to the opposite end of that. Woodford Batch Proof 2020. When we did our blinds that year, it either finished half a point ahead or half a point behind GTS 2020 that year. So it was really more King of Kentucky-esque versus Woodford-esque. It was honestly amazing. So that's the 123.6 2020 batch proof. So that one's great. The Woodford Double Oak 2 Tulip. That was an Ernie's pick. The 2 Tulip is absolute fire, amazing. So they can do some good stuff if they decide to, I guess.
Well, I've heard about that. I mean, I got to think, like, you know, Woodford's got one of those like legacy things in my mind that, you know, anybody knows that if you're going somewhere, we've talked about it before, you're going to get Maker's Marking at Woodford if you're getting premium stuff, right? That's like part of the premium bar package if you're going to the wedding and you're happy to see it. But
de facto bourbons, basically.
Yeah, de facto, and I don't know, like, are you have anything favorite from Woodford that you like to drink? I really liked their double oak this past year. I thought that was
good,
delicious. Yep. We reviewed that, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we reviewed that one.
Did you?
Yeah, we did do that.
Dude, this last year's double oak was very good.
It was good.
Yeah,
we even compared it to the double oak.
Yeah, we did. That's right.
And we said that for the money, we actually tasted the money, I think, in the double, right?
Right, absolutely. Yeah. What I thought was interesting is, okay, so Kenny, you got to give me this one. When we picked up those double oaks.
Are we going to talk about this one?
Yeah. No, we're not going to talk about that.
Oh, okay.
We're not going to talk about anybody doing shenanigans. But let's just say that Kenny ended up with a couple of bottles. I ended up with a couple of bottles. Well, I don't think you opened yours, sir, did you?
I have tasted the 2 previous years of double oak.
Yep.
And based on that, I took my multiple bottles that I happened to get that day and sold them all.
Okay. And so then I am tasting it later, and I sent him a message and said, hey, this double oak is off the charts. And he said, come on. And I said, no, really, it is.
So I went to his house. I don't know if it was the next day, a couple days later, whatever it was, and tasted it. And I was like, crap. So, me being a businessman, I did go buy 6 more of them for less than I sold mine for. So I still came out ahead, right. But yes, honestly, yeah. The actual last year's double oak was way better than the previous 2 ones that I had.
Yeah, that's so funny. I like that story because usually it's the other way around. You're calling me and telling me, "Oh, bro, this is amazing," and I'm going, "No, I haven't heard of that. Like, what? That's good." And so,
yeah, I was like, "Man, I already sold them."
Yeah. So the one thing that's interesting about this, do you guys notice that it says it's a Kentucky Straight Malt Whiskey?
Yeah.
So that I don't think that's actually like TTB recognized, right? Like I don't think there's a category of Kentucky Straight Malt Whiskey. I could be wrong.
If there is, were they number one?
The first ones to do it? Yeah. Back when old Labrat and Graham or whatever their names are, when they were distilling and they had ancient grains. No, I'm just kidding. So anyway, I think the reason it has this connotation as a Kentucky straight malt is because it kind of mimics that thing. You know how people talk about Kentucky style rye being 51% rye?
Right.
This is 51% malt. And so I think that's where they picked up off on that. And I don't really know if other products call themselves Kentucky straight malts, do they?
Yeah. The rare character exceptional series that we have is also Kentucky Straight Malt Whiskey.
Interesting. I wonder
what's the bill of that?
This one is 65% malt, 35% corn.
Okay.
Is there any
rye at all?
No rye. Okay.
No rye.
But it says 2% rye.
Did you look for that rye?
Yeah, it has 2%, but I don't know if that's like the flavoring grain or what. Like, it just doesn't seem like it's necessary. But I guess we'll find out soon enough if it's necessary, right? But you know, it's interesting on Woodford Reserve's website. Are you ready for this? They said it's rich and flavorful. I'm not going to give any tasting notes here. It just says it has nutty characteristics found in the original Woodford Reserve. Do you remember having nutty characteristics in the original Woodford Reserve?
I've had Woodford in a while now.
Yeah.
Woodford is a banana. But on the Parker's Heritage malt, it also says Kentucky Straight Malt Whiskey.
Okay.
So
that's a category. I didn't realize that was a category. I thought it was just like something everybody made up. Like, oh, let's call it Kentucky Straight Malt to be cool. But I guess it probably has to be distilled in Kentucky and new oak or maybe used oak. Who knows?
Well, it's like, and I should have researched this before I even brought it up, but it's like when you have bourbon, if you call it straight bourbon, is that like at least 2 years? Is that what that means?
I think so, yeah.
So you can put the White Dog in a barrel for literally 1 day and call it bourbon, but they call it straight bourbon. I think it's 2 years minimum, right?
That might be the case. Yeah,
so
I think you're right.
This straight malt, you would think it means it's at least 2 years old since it's got the word straight in it.
Even if you're wrong, it's okay to be wrong because it's the mashup, and sometimes if you heard it on the mashup, it's true.
We are historians.
Historians.
There you go.
Well, gentlemen, should we go for our first nosing?
Let's do it.
So if you can kind of power through what I think is like a cardboard note that I get first of all, I get like a chocolate butterscotch underneath.
Yeah, I can vibe with that chocolate butterscotch. I'm going to describe the note on it as being a little bit more green. So
Yeah.
when you're saying grainy, I'm getting a mixture of the grass and grain, which isn't uncommon with a malt whiskey to get a little bit of that on the nose. And I'm getting a little honey too. Not like sweet honey, I'm talking clover honey.
And on a lot of the malt stuff I have, I do get kind of that cereal, just like when you get done eating the cereal and you got that milk left behind, that little sweet milk from the cereal grains.
Yep.
So that's what I kind of get on this nose a little bit.
Nice.
I do get a little nutty, like the descriptor of it.
Are there any other aromatics? Because while we're nosing, I have to point this out. When we were at Woodford, it was so bizarre. They started talking about the fact that you can actually nose 200 different flavors or taste 200 different flavors into bourbon. And then I saw that on Facebook as well. I think that's like their new marketing thing, like up to 270
200
flavors. You know, you could smell and taste all the aromas of. I don't know if there's even 200 descriptors I could use, but that's their thing now. Did you notice that?
I like to see this list.
Yeah. I'm about to try to pull it up over here. But seriously,
And
it's
I
part of
want
their
to have
marketing.
that nosing kit too.
You know what's funny? They had a flavor wheel there, right? Didn't they have a flavor wheel on the table or something? And I said, "Can I take this with me?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." And I threw it in the back of my car and looked at it since.
Yeah, I think I took mine, but I don't know what to do with it.
It's in the back of your car too.
And I think if you're listing that many notes, you're just calling out everything at that point, right? Everyone's going to get something different. I can't imagine one person getting that many notes.
I can't imagine either, but I know I've seen that multiple times, and I do remember our guided tour guide person saying, "Oh, you can smell and taste up to X amount of things." And if you go on Woodford's website, every single one of their products, they have like a flavor wheel next to it. So when you click it, it kind of gives you a little bit of an overview of what you should be tasting on the flavor wheel. I didn't look at the malt purposefully, but I do think I've seen that somewhere.
Yeah, here we go. There are more than 200 detectable flavors in Woodford Reserve. 212 to be exact.
Oh, what do you think's going to happen when they find 213? A little gold ribbon cutting ceremony, trumpets playing and whatnot. Come on, 212 flavors.
Aged Parmesan olive, toasted hazelnut, toasted pecan, cashew, Brazil nut, dried cranberry, dried cherry, orange slice, dark chocolate, sorghum, maple syrup,
Raisinets. Nerds.
So
Seriously,
basically, you can you can taste everything in there. It's just like the kitchen sink.
short ribs.
sample one.
Short ribs. There you go. What about baby
Here
back
we go.
ribs?
High fat content bacon.
Yeah, the toasted pecan, cashew,
Come on,
and then dark cranberry.
dark cranberry sauce like Thanksgiving din.
I need to see that in there.
Got him.
Holy cow! So
No, I did find that one there, yeah.
So that's interesting that you brought that up because is that really, I mean, can you say that and be taken seriously? I mean, at one point in time, I mean, who sat down and figured out that there was 212 distinct? Is that what Chris Morris did before he went off into the
I
sunset?
would think if you got the 20, I mean, that's got to be expert level at that point, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
I mean, who's calling out different nuts?
So, fellas, should we go in for our first tasting here?
Let's sip.
I'm interested to taste all 200 flavors in this.
212 to be exact.
214.
I think Anthony's wanted 2 nuts.
This is toasty nutty,
I get that honey that you said coming through on the palate.
but it's not a real sweet honey, like
No,
you said.
no,
it's
it's
really
not.
not.
Yeah.
I get very nut forward. I don't get like a grain forward, like it's a super young MGP or some super young other bourbon. I actually do get just straight a nut.
And it's not real oily or anything. It's real thin,
Yeah.
I feel like.
90.4.
I don't have anything yet. I'm going to wait, but I do think that my first sip was reminiscent. I'm trying to go back and see if this makes me nostalgic at all, because when I first tasted this, I really liked it. I mean, that was more than 5 years ago now. So
This to me is like, as a little kid, if you're eating cereal directly out of the box, but it's not a sweet cereal. So some kind of a Cheerios that wasn't sweet, some kind of something that was not very sugary.
right.
No milk, just a straight up grains. I'm eating grains like a cereal right now.
It is very grainy. The nuts, if they're nuts, they're a little bit like, what kind of a nut has like a bitter finish?
Well, the first drink I got was more nut, not grain. The second and third drink just now is more grain.
More grain.
Yeah.
More grain.
So I retract what I first said.
Okay, I get the honey, the
It is a slight.
clover honey.
Yeah.
Does the pistachio have a bitter end?
I guess it can, right?
I guess how toasted it is.
Yeah. It is some kind of like a dry roasted nut. It's got like maybe...
We only have 208 more tasting notes to go.
we got stuck at 4.
I do not hate this, though. I will say that. I thought it was going to be disgusting, so I do not hate it.
Yeah. I'm getting a slight, very, very slight chocolate hint, too. Like, it's wrapped up in that... that's what it is to me. It's like, you know how... I don't know about you guys, but when you got the mixed nuts sampler, and there were certain ones you wanted to avoid... I actually think it might be a Brazilian nut. Isn't a Brazilian nut the big one?
Yeah.
So, yes, that's what it is. It's a chocolate-covered Brazilian nut. So, yeah, that's... I mean, and that's the thing. Like, that's the last thing I wanted to eat in the sampler when I was eating those confections.
Yep, chocolate is definitely there.
Do you think this would be good as a mix because of the off, I guess, nature of it?
I'm not really sure, to tell you the truth. I'm not sure what
like what you would put in it.
So I don't hate this, like I said a minute ago, but I would not really reach for it again. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. I mean, I don't hate it though, but I wouldn't intentionally reach for it.
I think I'm feeling you right there. Like I'm just wondering, like how would you use this?
What about smoky campfire outside, where it's a little bit chocolate, a little bit,
yeah,
a little bit nutty? I don't know. I'm just trying to think of something because I don't hate it. I really don't hate it, but
I'll try a little bit.
I don't know if I'd reach for it in general.
Well, I think what you're saying is going to factor into how I'm going to formulate what I'm going to say about Pass, Try, or Buy, because I've already admitted I was a 2-time buyer of this. And I recommended it to, I think, my cousin, who also enjoys it.
Yeah, but you also enjoy Buffalo Trace stuff. So
who doesn't?
Messing with you, ant dog.
Questionable palates over here.
No. Buffalo Trace is actually very good.
Buffalo Trace aside, so you do know that Woodford is making some changes, right? Chris Morris has officially stepped down as the master distiller, and Elizabeth McCall is now the person who will be the liquid/master distiller, whatever you want to call.
Well, she's 0 for 2.
Why is she 0 for 2?
What was that, toasted something oat something you got her?
Oh, the toasted oak 4 grain?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I forgot what the other one was.
Was that a white label?
Yeah. So actually, you know what? It's not even a white label anymore. So if you have the opportunity to go get a distillery release, a 375, it's not white label anymore. They've changed it to a more traditional looking label, and the bottle's the same shape and everything, but it's now a new label. So when we were out there on the barrel pick, they had toasted oak 4 grain. If you look up what that is, it's actually the wheat whiskey, the rye whiskey, and the bourbon. So not the malt, but those other 3. They take all 3 of them, initial maturation, put them in a secondary barrel, batch them together, and then put them in a toasted barrel for maybe, I don't know what
we thought it might have been like an actual 4 grain mash or something, but it's not.
Yeah, their wheat whiskey is actually a 4 grain mash, which is interesting. They don't market it as 4 grain. They market it as wheat whiskey. Right. So that's their 4 grain. And Kenny, I'm going to say something about that real quick. So you said 0 for 2. So here's the experience I've had with the toasted oak 4 grain. And I should have brought it, man. I didn't even realize we were doing this. We should have brought that so we could have tasted it.
The other day.
I did. So here's what goes for me. Initial taste, the day we were at Woodford, didn't care for it all that much. Then I had another night where I poured it, and I was like, man, this is a little butterscotchy. It's got some sweetness. It's good. It's all this stuff. Then I brought it over here for Kenny to try, and you thought what, sir?
I didn't like it.
He didn't like it, and I didn't like it that much. And then guess what? I tried to pour it another night, and it tasted good again. So it keeps going back and forth. It's like a pendulum. Weird. It's a pendulum for me. So I don't know if it's like settling or if
bipolar.
It's bipolar. It's got, but so I'm not ready to call that one off yet. But yes. So, and then did you guys see that she has her first special release? You know how they do their special releases? Like the historic barrel entry proof and all that stuff. Was that her?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was her. Okay, never mind. Yeah.
That's why I said 0 for 2.
Yeah, that one wasn't great. And now her follow-up to that is going to be triple Sonoma finished.
Let's say 0 for 3. I'm going to call it. I'm going on a limb here.
So maybe off to a rocky start, but I don't know. Maybe that's because she worked under the man, Chris Morris, who, as you said for many years, and many others have said too, like great execution on some things, very poor execution on other things.
So you poured more of this.
I did, just a little bit.
I have my original that I poured. So mine's been sitting now 10 minutes.
Yep.
It tastes way better now than the first couple sips.
Maybe that's what's going on.
A little air in it.
Would you like some more, Steven?
Sure, I'll just do it.
Okay, a little tiny bit. I mean, right before the Pass, Try, Buy, we gotta get one more taste in real quick.
Yeah. So I don't hate it. I'm indifferent on it.
So second pour, a little bit more chocolate. I'm picking up more of the chocolate.
Yeah.
Seems a little bit more muted. The harshness seems a little more muted. The grassiness is what I call harshness.
Yeah.
Do you remember this opening up when the first time you had it?
Yeah, but you know what's funny about that? Back in 2018, the first time I tried this, number one, I didn't have that much bourbon. I probably had maybe 50 to 75 bottles, which I know seems like a lot for some people, but now I have north of X amount. I don't even know how many I have. And so I think what I remember being the most refreshing about it, I was so used to bourbon, or rye. And this is the first time I tried something different that I like. So I've told you many times, I've told everybody I hate Scotch. And I see malt whiskey and I'm like, oh, just try it. And I bought it to try it and I really liked it. It was a nice change of pace. Like it was, I think it was during the warmer months too, where I was like, oh, this is banging. I like it.
I do have to agree. It's that youthfulness kind of wore away a little bit on the second pour.
It's a little more sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like the last 2 drinks better than the first 3 drinks.
All right.
As it sat there in the glass.
So, gentlemen, would you pass, try, or buy on the Woodford Reserve Kentucky Straight Malt Whiskey?
Well, since I've had it before, I can go first and listen to you gentlemen volley over what you like and don't like. So I've already mentioned, bought an initial bottle, drank it, liked it, bought another bottle, even recommended it to other people. The thing that's changed that I didn't mention before is I've tried more malt whiskeys. So we know about Balcones on the podcast. Yep. We know we've tried Exceptional, a lot of rare character Exceptional malt. Tried Kenny's banging.
Not still a bourbon because it's 51% corn.
That's true. It's still a bourbon, but it's a high malt 49%.
Content. Yep,
49% bourbon, which I really liked, and it does have more of a flavor profile. It's more like a malt than it is a bourbon. Now that I've tried more stuff, I can solidly say that I would still try this. And the reason being is because you're not going to get kicked in the teeth, right? So a lot of the straight malts, and even that one that we tried, Balcones even, they're north of 115, 120 proof. And that can be a lot. This at 90.4 proof is pretty approachable. The price is okay. Right?
Is this one of the cheaper malts, you think? Malt bourbons?
By far.
Yeah, by far, yeah. So I'm a solid try on this. Like, I think that I stopped buying it, though, because I kind of moved on from it. But that doesn't mean that I would pass on it. I definitely think it's a solid try for me.
I think I'm going to be a try as well. I think I'm probably going to eat my words, though. I feel like if this sits for a month or so, it's going to open up.
Okay.
And might turn to a buy at that point.
I can see that.
I gotcha.
Right, you know, just based on how mine changed in 10 minutes in the glass.
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm going to eat my words saying a try, but the second pour was a lot better than the first. And it has those notes that I like. But right now, as it stands, the new bottle, I'm going to be a try.
All right.
I'm a try. No, I'm definitely a try.
So it's a triple try?
Triple try, man, because I didn't dislike it. You know, I didn't hate it. I'm just trying to figure out what I would, like I said, what's a good scenario? Is it around the campfire? Is it around something smoky, this and that? But so it's definitely a try because it's a break from the norm and it's under $40.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice break from the norm at that price. And you know what? If you're a person out there that really likes Woodford and you haven't ventured into their other products, one of the bottles that surprised the crap out of us when we first started this podcast was Woodford Rye.
Yep.
If you all have a chance, not to plug a previous episode, but I think you got to go back to sub 30 when we were still using our Purple Panda microphones.
Oh, it was under 10.
It was under 10.
I think it was.
Well, that particular night, we drank almost that whole entire bottle of Woodford Rye. Kenny, it got out of control. Wow. Yeah, I think that we all needed a cooling off period after that was done recording. But it was just tasting so good. And we were like, yep. So we were definitely buying the Woodford Rye, and I do keep a bottle of Woodford Rye around.
You know by chance what their mash bill was? Are they a barely legal rye too? Like
heavy on
those guys?
Episode 9,
Woodford Rye. Yeah, I think they're barely legal. Barely legal rye, if I remember correctly. And it was good. That was probably back 2021.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sweet. Triple pass. That's not bad, man.
Triple try.
I mean, triple try. Yeah. I meant triple try.
Oh, maybe you had too much over here.
No, that's not bad, though.
And with that, thanks for listening to this week's edition. Please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Mashup KY.
Don't forget to visit our partner, bourbonoutfitter.com. Enter code The Mashup for a special discount.
Also, let us know your thoughts on this bottle in the comment section. Until next time, keep it neat.